You can scream and shout with all your might.
Scream, shout, whine, cry, you know the deal.
Dig in your heels and hold on tight.
Wah, 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 wah.
Either you are wrong or I am right.
And don't forget the ever-present third possibility. You are wrong, and I am right. Thank you. Okay, we're going to get into this. We're going to try to knock this out. Got to read through for Death of a Salesman in an hour and 20-some odd minutes. This is... yes. This is part 4 of my extensive analysis of marriage. This does not bode well, Brandy. I just called Randy Brandy. This does not bode well, Randy, because I'm having a brain cramp already. Marriage, monogamy, homosexual marriage, heterosexual marriage, polygamy. My whole analysis of all of these things. Welcome to another edition of Stating the Obvious, brought to you by the Cynical Libertarian Society. I am, of course, your host, Skip Doggy Dog, the imparter of wisdom, knowledge, truth, the man who does what we need to do, what we all need to do. I state the obvious. Why? Because apparently some of you out there are too stupid to figure this shit out on your own. So you need me. But it's okay. That's what I'm here for. If I can lead just one of you to wisdom, well, it might be worth it. Not that any of you are really worth leading anywhere other than to, never mind. Yeah, oh, well, that's true. There's a few women I could lead to my bed. Before I go back into this article from the Intercollegiate Review, written by this idiot Alan Carlston, I was reading Liberty magazine. This is the November 2004 issue. And I stumbled across something interesting. I have to find it. Blah, 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 blah. Nope, that's not. Well, that's actually pretty interesting, too. That's pretty interesting, too. Most of these are, in fact, pretty interesting. Here we go. Orlando, Florida. This is from a report in the Miami Herald. I just warn all of you today that I'm somewhat cranky, which does not bode well for you, the listener. I'm also tired. My legs hurt. It's been a long day. I'm going to sit down. Alright, here we go. From the Miami Herald. After discovering in January that Orange County Deputy Sheriff Mindy Hood was an unwed mother, Judge Alan C. Todd told her that she was a, quote, disgrace to society, unquote, and her child was, quote, a bastard, unquote, explaining that, quote, it is acceptable for a male to have sex before marriage, but if a female does so, she is not respected and considered a tramp, unquote, and that her family, quote, obviously had no morals, unquote. Now, first of all, this isn't really funny. I shouldn't be laughing. This is sad and pathetic. But, well, no. Randy's pointing out that I should specify which part is sad and pathetic. Oh, in the control room, the lovely, the adorable, the wonderful, the cute when she bends over Randy. Yes, we love Randy. Don't we love you? Mm-hmm. You are the bomb. Randy is truly bomb-malicious. You have to trust me on this. Randy's pointing out I should specify which part of this is ridiculous. The fact that the judge is telling this woman this bullshit is what's ridiculous. And it's funny, but it's not funny. Because this ties back to what I've already brought up in the previous editions of Stating the Obvious, talking about marriage. Is if men are supposed to be running around having sex before they get married, but women aren't supposed to be having any sex before they get married, who exactly are men supposed to be having all this sex with? I need to know. I've got to know, because maybe I'm doing something wrong, because I'm running around trying to have sex with women, and I'm not married, and I'm not intending to get married. So, and Randy, And Randy's pointing out that I'm failing miserably in my attempts. Well, see, maybe that's it. Maybe if I was trying to have sex with the right people, I'd be getting some. I need to know. Alright. On the subject of sex and married and all other good stuff, we're going to pick up again. This is from the Intercollegiate Review, Volume 40, Number 1, Fall/Winter 2004. This is an essay entitled To Becoming One Flesh by Alan Carlston, who I'm going to have to look up on the internet, find out some things about this Alan Carlston guy, and I imagine that I will be getting back to all of you with that information. He's also written at least one book I'm going to have to read to see what kind of idiocy is in there. Anyway, so if you haven't listened to part 3 of the marriage debate, well, it's not a debate because I'm always right. There's no need to debate. If you haven't listened to Stating the Obvious Marriage Part 3, then you're probably going to be a little lost here because we're picking up in the middle of an essay. So if you have not done that, go back and listen to it. That's what I'm trying to tell you for those of you who weren't smart enough to grasp that on your own, which would, of course, be any of you out there who voted Democrat. Now, here we go. I will now read from the essay. What then about... Yeah, no, we'll do that at the end. Thank you, though, Randy. Thank you, darling. Alright, I read. What then about marriage? The traditionalist case points to the needed recovery of a cultural understanding of marriage as the union of sexual, meaning the reproductive, and the economic, with the insistence that law rest on this human universal. In the short run, this would be vital to the defense of marriage at a time when it faces profound legal and cultural changes rooted in misguided evolution theories. In the long run, it would be essential to the very health and survival of our nation. Now let's look at this paragraph. First of all, we're back. Here we are. Again, I've told, how many times have I said this? And how many times have I said I'm going to beat you people over the fucking head with this until it permeates your tiny, thick little skulls and gets to that tiny little pea-sized piece of mush you have in there that you call a brain. Here we go again. A understanding of marriage as a union of the sexual, meaning the reproductive, and the economic. The woman's purpose, I can't talk. The woman's purpose is to make babies. The man's purpose is to financially support them. That is why you exist, according to Christianity. I just thought of this today. I mean, this is some weak shit. I mean, imagine if you got up in the morning and you're going, wow, the only reason I exist is to make some babies. You have no, it's not to fulfill a destiny, it's not to create art, it's not to make the world a better place, it's to make babies. That's why you exist, if you're a woman, is to make babies. If you're a man, you only exist to financially support the babies. You're not even making the baby, you're just paying for the baby. I'm not sure which of those is more degrading. Maybe they're equally degrading, I don't know. I haven't really sat down and weighed the consequences on that one. But to think that this is your purpose in life, that this is the only reason you're here, is to go make a baby. And so if you haven't made a baby, are you and here's another question. I've already brought up, what about a woman who's sterile because of menopause or because of ovarian cancer or for whatever reason, a woman who can't have children? Should she be allowed to get married? Should she even be allowed to live? She can't fulfill her function in existing, which is to get married and make a baby. What about a man who in his life never has any children? I mean, is this a sin or something? He hasn't fulfilled his function. God put him here on earth to economically support babies. Well, yeah. Oh, good point. Randy says that if you have a job, you pay taxes, and your taxes go to welfare mothers to support their children. Therefore, all men who pay taxes are supporting children. I'm not sure if that would be... I'm not sure how a biblical scholar, I use the word scholar loosely, like Alan Carlston would interpret that one, But yeah, that could be worth bringing up. Okay, the second point in this paragraph is just prime. Rooted in misguided evolution theories. Now remember, earlier in the essay, we were using evolution to support the beliefs he's espousing about how marriage is supposed to be a monogamous man and a woman for the purpose of making babies and financially support them. But now, all of a sudden, evolutionary theory, which was supporting his beliefs 2 pages ago, is now become misguided. In the long run, it would be essential to the very health and survival of our nation. Defining marriage the way Carlson thinks it should be defined and writing that in stone and forcing it on everybody is essential to the very health and the survival of our nation. Remember earlier we learned that it is monogamous marriage for the purpose. What was the exact phrase? Oh, if I could find it. Oh, here it goes. Permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction and child rearing. This, according to Carlson, is the unique human nature, vital to human success, even to human existence on Earth. Remember, if we do not have permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction, then civilization as we know it, the entire human species, will collapse. Finally, I understand why Christians are so dead set against homosexual marriage. Because they're just trying to save us all. Because if two homosexuals get married, it's going to be over with. Civilization will collapse. Our DNA will just melt. We'll just evaporate into the ether because we cannot possibly, as a human species, exist. We can't exist without permanent heterosexual pair bonding. I'm going to read. I'm going to read this until I fucking start frothing at the mouth and fall over dead. Until permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction and child rearing is forced down the throats of every single person on Earth. And those goddamn homosexuals, they are going to destroy the world if they dare to get married. Therefore, we should just go out and kill them all. That reminds me, I hit the website of what's that idiot's, is his name Phelps? I could flip over and look on the computer, but I'm too lazy to do it. Phelps, the guy that got www.godhatesfags.com. Oh my god, that is sad. That is fucking sick. We may need to address that in the future. That was pathetic. Yeah. And to set the record straight, I have a lot of disagreements with homosexuals, but it's not based on the fact that they have sex with other men or other women. It's based on their political, social, economic, whatever the fuck ever. To sit there and say that homosexuals shouldn't be allowed to get married because they're homosexual is bullshit, in my opinion. Of course, in my opinion, nobody should be getting married because marriage is a really fucking stupid idea. But this is like, but here's the equivalency as I see it. And I know few people will agree with me. Here's the equivalency. This debate is like saying, well, heterosexual people should be allowed to shoot themselves in the head and commit suicide, but homosexual people shouldn't be allowed to shoot themselves in the head and commit suicide. Now, I don't think suicide is a good idea for anybody, but to say that it's okay for heterosexuals to kill themselves, but it's bad for homosexuals to kill themselves, and society will collapse, that's bullshit. And it's the same thing with marriage. I think getting married is a stupid idea, no matter who you fuck. But to sit here and say that, well, heterosexuals can get married, but homosexuals can't. Well, what the fuck is that? Now, of course, if you're an idiot like Carlson, and you've read too much Bible, and you have your head shoved up your ass, then you think that it's okay to say that because human civilization is only exists because of permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction and child rearing. Randy, are you counting how many times I read that? You should. That would be... we'll get way past double digits before this is over with. Let me go back to the essay. A second imperative, therefore, would be more productive and more vital homes. There are several successful contemporary models I focus on here. The clue lies in a throwaway line from Betty Friedan, who said, quote, It is possible for women to let me restart that over. It is possible for women to reverse history or kid themselves that they can reverse it by baking their own bread, but the law does not permit them to teach their own children at home. Well, as he points out here further on, that is changing to a certain extent. Homeschooling is now more prevalent. And what he's saying here, as far as I can tell, because this is one of these moments where he goes into homeschooling and everything, blah, 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 blah. Oh, well, yeah, we should, yeah, okay. Let me see, how should I read here? He talks about homeschooling, and of course, let me tell you where he's going to go before I actually read this. His point is that if we engage in more homeschooling of our children, then we can fill their heads with more bullshit. Like, for example, we can teach them that the human species only exists on Earth because of permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction and child rearing. That, in fact, our supremacy over animals has nothing to do with the divine spark, or has nothing to do with the fact that we have language and can communicate abstract ideas. It has nothing to do with our intelligence. It has nothing to do with a larger brain size to body size. It has nothing to do with the storage and processing capacity of our brains. It has nothing to do with our creativity. It has nothing to do with even that we were created by God in His image. It has nothing to do with our cognitive skills, our reasoning skills. It has nothing to do with our ability to use tools. No. All of those things are completely irrelevant. None of those things are why human beings have achieved the success that they have here on Earth. If we had more homeschooling, more stupid little Christian Bible-thumping motherfuckers like Alan Carlson could teach their children that the reason human beings are the supreme creature on this earth is because of permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction and child rearing. So what he's saying is, if we had more homeschooling, we could fuck up the brains of more little children. And gosh, wouldn't that make us a better world? Wow, sure would. Let me read from the essay here. More importantly, however, these refunctionalized families. What have I got here? Refunctionalized, I've got reading my notes, means monogamous, homeschooling, mom stays at home, and dad brings home the money. So when he's talking about these refunctionalized families, he's talking about his family. He's talking about this monogamous pair bonding family, which is devoted to spitting out babies and financially supporting them. The nuclear family, as we would put it. More importantly, however, these refunctionalized families also remake the very psychology of homes. They become beehives of activity. The evidence suggests that these families are more likely than non-homeschooling households to live in semi-rural locations, tend a vegetable garden, engage in simple animal husbandry, create home businesses, and turn to home births. Excuse me. I just ate. That was a little revisiting there. That was more information than you needed out there, wasn't it? That's what you gotta love about the internet. You can always find out more than you want to know. I go back to reading. And regarding that last item, the last item being home births, and regarding that last item, homeschooling families are also rebuilding the bond of marriage by recovering procreative sexuality. One 1997 survey found 98% of homeschooling children to be living in married couple households. Let me break for a minute. Let me respond to this. This is one of those statistics which is completely fucking meaningless. And let me explain to you why. 98% of homeschooling children to be living in married couple households. No shit. Here's a clue for your ass. For a child to be homeschooled, that means there's got to be somebody in the home to school him or her. For we here on Stating the Obvious, we don't do him/her shit. We say him all the time. Unless we're talking about somebody bad, then we use a woman for the example, because of course women are mentally and intellectually inferior to men and are only here for me to fuck. At least the good-looking ones. The ugly ones are here to make babies with Christians. I'm just kidding, Randy. That was my sexist joke. In case any of you are listening for the first time, I have a sexist joke in every edition of Stating the Obvious. Oh, and that reminds me, I got to cover this too. Jeez, see, look, I'm finding more and more things I have to cover. I need to talk faster. Okay. We get back to the point of this statistic. So, for the child to be homeschooled, somebody's got to stay home with the child to school them. Now, obviously, most of the time, this is going to be a parent. That means there's got to be money coming from somewhere, because a parent who stays home schooling the child can't be making money at the same time. Not very likely, not in most cases. I mean, yes, there are some conditions under which this could happen, but as a rule, it's not going to be. So that means there's got to be another person bringing home a paycheck. Most likely, that person's also going to be a parent. So the point of this is, if you're being homeschooled, you're most likely going to have two parents, for the very simple reason that how the hell is a single parent supposed to homeschool their child? That's what I thought. The only way a single parent can homeschool the child is if the single parent is independently wealthy, doesn't have to work for a living, or if the single parent can afford to have somebody else come in and homeschool the child. And how many people are in one of those two positions? Not that many. So, this is a completely meaningless statistic. One 1997 survey found 98% of homeschooling children to be living in married couple households. The sexual division of labor in these homes was more pronounced. 52% of homeschoolers lived in two-parent families with only one parent in the workforce. What'd I just say? One person's got to go to work, one person's got to stay home and school the child. What the fuck did I just say? Compared to 19% of children nationwide. And these families were noticeably larger, with nearly twice as many children as the national average. Indeed, 62% of homeschooling families have 3 or more children, compared to 20% nationwide. A third of these homes have 4 or more children, compared with only 6% nationwide. Functional and prolific, it appears, still go together, underscoring both the poetry and the power of that wonderful phrase, quote, "They became one flesh," unquote. Now, this functional and prolific, it appears, still go together. Yeah, this all depends on how you're defining those words. I mean, some people would look at a household, with 6 children who are all running around Bible thumping and seriously believe that the only difference between humans and animals is monogamous pair bonding for the purpose of reproduction, as not being a very functional family. Then what do I have in my notes here? I wrote on my notes at the end of this paragraph, more likely Christians make more babies and homeschool these babies in order to teach the kids bullshit, which is essentially what I just said. That's the whole point. Christians. And see here, this is another one of those things where people are going to think, "Wow, he must be a liberal," or what? Some of you people out there are stupid. You're going to think something that's wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that anytime any of you ever try thinking for yourselves, you're just going to reach some stupid bonehead conclusion. That's why you need me to do your thinking for you, because you're all stupid. Many of you out there are thinking that I'm expressing an opposition here to homeschooling and a favoritism for public schooling, and you're wrong. Homeschooling is like anything. It is evil in the hands of the wrong people. Like, for example, anyone who would read something by Alan Carlston and believe it. Public school is also evil because public school is a place where children are taught to never question the actions of the government, so the government can do what it wants. A schooling system controlled by the government is one of the stupidest, most evil ideas I can think of. The truth, as always, lies in between. Well, yeah, I would, yeah, right. See, I would go for a combination of homeschooling and what's public, it's not public, it's privately operated and owned schools where people can select curriculum. Because, the thing is, homeschooling, I think, has advantages, but you got to get your kids out in schools with other kids and stuff, too, for interaction, for being exposed to other ideas, because you can't leave them in the little box of their house until you throw them off to college. Then you're going to get dysfunctional people, to an extent. especially if you're an idiot who believes stuff like what this writes. Anyway, I'm almost done with this essay. Randy, will you stop distracting me? You're supposed to be helping me here, not distracting me with bringing up other things. The final paragraph of this beautiful, just enlightening piece of work, because finally now I know my purpose. The reason I'm here on Earth is to get some bitch pregnant so she can spit out a baby and I can financially support it. I mean, for so long I've wondered why I was put on this earth. I've wondered, why did my mother actually have sex with my father and then carry me around in her womb for 9 months and go through all those labor pains and then support and take care of my ass for 18 years. Now I know. It's so I can support some little babies who can be little Bible-thumping motherfuckers and give money to the church and make more little Christian Bible-thumping motherfuckers to give more money to the church, so that the end result is that a church can have more money. Because you know what? What the fuck does God need money for? This is totally off topic. Randy, stop me when I do this kind of shit, okay? Thank you. Yes, I'm going to read the last paragraph now. Where are we? 26 minutes. Jesus. All right. And for somebody who hates religion so much, I sure do say Jesus and goddamn and oh my God and everything else a whole lot, don't I? Cultural habits. Okay. Thank you. Randy's telling me to read the goddamn article. Alright. You can say goddamn, you believe in God. I don't. Alright. The final paragraph. In contemporary America, same-sex marriage has won a hearing in part because many see heterosexual marriage in the early 21st century as falling far short of the traditional standard, binding the reproductive and the economic. Let me bang you people over the head with this again. The reproductive and the economic. Remember, marriage is not about love. It's not about companionship. It's not about being with somebody you care about. It's not about supporting. It's not about any of these things. According to Alan Carlston, according to the Bible, according to God, coming down from God himself. God told Carlston in person. He's got it on videotape. God came down and explained the purpose of marriage is reproduction and economic. That's it. Nobody gives a fuck if you're happy in your marriage, as long as you're making babies and paying for them. That is what it's all about. That's what this fucking thing says. Nowhere in this entire essay that I have read to you, and that I'm going to scan this in and put it on the website. Nowhere in this essay has a single fucking word been said, except in a disparaging manner. Remember, there's the one part where they said that marrying other people for emotional reasons or for support or for love actually degrades the institution of marriage. That's what it says in here. That's what it says. That's what the fuck it says, Randy. You heard me read it. You were in the control room when I read it. Don't argue. You know it's true. Thank you. Randy's pointing out I'm supposed to be reading the final paragraph. In contemporary America, same-sex marriage has won a hearing in part because many see heterosexual marriage in the early 21st century as falling far short of the traditional standard binding the reproductive and the economic. Accordingly, any effort to rehabilitate the institution of marriage must not stop with legal bans on gay marriage. It must also embrace true encouragements to the reconstruction of the function-rich and child-rich home. I could just shit myself. I don't even know what to do with this. I don't even know what to do with this. I don't even know what to do with this. This paragraph is like taking a Jew who suffered in a concentration camp and watched this is like if a Jew watched his wife get raped and then killed by the Gestapo, and then the Gestapo killed off his children and then put him in a concentration camp for 10 years and then starved him and everything. Then you took that Jew out and you took those Gestapo agents and you stripped them naked and you tied him up and you gave the Jew a hot poker. Now how do you think he would feel? That's how I feel with this paragraph. It's like there's so much possibility. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so we must not stop with legal bans on gay marriage. No. Let's not stop there. This reminds me of the anti-tobacco fascist. Now that we've outlawed tobacco, we're not going to stop there. Let's go after, we've outlawed tobacco in public. Now we're going to outlaw tobacco in your own home. Then we're going to go after the fat people. But that's, all right. Thank you, Randy. That is another topic. Thank you. Randy's telling me to fucking focus. Alright. Focus. No. We must not stop with legal bans on gay marriage. No. We must embrace. I love this word. It must also embrace true encouragements to the reconstruction of the function-rich and child-rich home. Embrace true encouragements. Now, I want to ask you folks out there, what the fuck does that mean? When we are going to embrace true encouragements. Let me translate this for those of you who are stupid. Embrace true encouragements means pass more laws. Embrace true encouragements means use the power of the government to force people to believe things. We are going to embrace true encouragements to the reconstruction of the function-rich and child-rich home. What are they going to do? Are they going to force women to get pregnant? Are they going to... I'm sure there's a lot of... Well... Let me think about what I was about to say for a minute. As I take a drink of water. I think that there are probably a lot of households with two parents that work who maybe would love it if one of those parents was forced to stay home with the child. Of course, that means an income drop, and where exactly the makeup of that income is going to come from, I don't know. My first response would be it's going to come out of my taxes. Because everything the government does, here's a newsflash for some of you out there who are really stupid. Everything the government does is paid for out of your taxes. And so when you people are sitting around saying the government should be doing more things, such as embracing true encouragements to the reconstruction of the function-rich and child-rich home, you know who the fuck's going to pay for that? Well, yeah, you're not. Well, some of you out there aren't because you are rich and you have really good accountants. That's going to be my tax money action. So, I mean, how exactly do we encourage the reconstruction of the function-rich and child-rich home? No, I'm happy. I'm happy that I finally made it through that essay. It's just I have to read it one more time. Yeah, these are going to end up. These are going to end up on my website. Just talking about gay marriage. Just as recklessly, this same campaign will, if successful, also subvert the one trait, permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction and child-rearing, which science points to as unique to human nature, vital to human success, even to human existence on Earth. Yes, folks, if it were not for monogamous marriage, human beings would not exist. This. It's just great. See, here we go. In short, I know I've already shut up. I'm doing this. Randy, go get your own show. I'm doing this. But I'm enjoying it. I know I have other stuff to do. Yeah. In short, the evolutionary appearance of the diminished companionate marriage, one without economic function and one with the sexual function redefined from procreative to pleasure-seeking, cleared the path for more claims to change and eventually to demands for gay marriage. So you see, this is a bad thing that There is a diminished form of marriage, companionate marriage. This diminished form of marriage is one without economic function. And I've already said I don't know how you can be married and not have economic function. You still have to pay bills. But the diminished form of marriage is one without economic function. I know what they mean by that. They mean economic function of paying for children. That's what they mean. That's not what he wrote, but I know that's what he means. And one with the sexual function redefined from procreative to pleasure-seeking. So if you're not procreating, even if you're married, and even if you're heterosexual, and even if you're monogamous, if you're not procreating and paying for the procreation, you are a fucking sinner. You are immoral. You are unethical. You are going against the will of God. You are a piece of shit. You, how dare you? How dare you get married to somebody just because you love them? What the fuck is wrong with you people out there? The whole point in getting married is to make more little fucking babies so they can generate more economic activity and give money to the church, because God needs money. Because God is all powerful, but he can't do shit without money. You know, a guy was sitting there, he said, well, you know, I think I'm going to create the heavens and the earth. He said, shit, I ain't got no fucking money. So, that, you know, shit. God can't do shit without money. We got to make more babies so God can get more money. What the fuck is wrong with you people out there? And you goddamn faggots. You're not helping. You're out there screwing each other in the ass. You're not making any babies. How the hell is God supposed to get rich? You're all going to go to hell. God damn it. You know, fuck. You people just disgust me. I did that. This is great. This is from I subscribed to Playboy a while back just to see how it was these days. Let me state for the record, the women are all ugly as hell. They all look alike. They all have those big fake tits. It's pretty sad. Water. Occasionally, they do have an interesting article. Not very often. Not as often as they would like you to believe. This is, I'm trying to figure out what issue this was. It does not say because I tore the pages out. Playboy Forum, welcome to Virgin Land, inside the movement to keep kids ignorant about sex. It has a picture here of a poster sold by the anti-abortion group Heritage House 76. Now I'm going to scan this picture, and this is also going to be on the page. You will be seeing it hopefully soon. In this picture we have the following text. It says, "My man will respect me as much as I respect myself. He will be strong enough to wait. He will love me for life. And he will remain abstinent, knowing that the best is worth waiting for." And next to this, we have a picture of this woman with these really beautifully formed tits, wearing this nice sweater. She's your typical blonde hair, blue-eyed, good-looking woman. And I'm looking at this poster, and I'm thinking, isn't this interesting? The Christians are using sex to sell virginity. Because not only, I've seen a lot of Christian women in my life, I've seen a lot of women in my life, and most of them don't look as hot as this chick does. You know, if they wanted to be honest about this, why didn't they put some fat bitch on the cover? Like big old 270-pound Bertha with a mustache and a big wart on her cheek, you know, and a tooth missing and stuff. Why did we have to go out and find the little Aryan beauty with the perfect tits and put her in a sweater? The Christians are using sex to sell virginity. Then we have this little tagline down here. Well, we have a couple of them. Yeah, he will love me for life. There's your monogamy thing going on, your mirror. But then it says, and he will remain abstinent, knowing that the best is worth waiting for. So not only is she hot, not only does she have these perfect little tits, but she's the best fuck in the world. The best is worth waiting for. She's the best. Whatever, all you guys out there, whoever you're fucking, your woman you're fucking is not as good as this chick. This chick in this poster, she's the best. She is the best. So I'm going to scan this. This will be on the site. This is great. I got some stuff highlighted here. I'm going to read this. The abstinence movement is more than a decade into its increasingly successful campaign to abolish sex education. Its alternative curriculum since 1996, the only kind eligible for federal funding, which has totaled more than $750 million, rejects the universal medical conclusion that condoms prevent pregnancy and disease. Well, condoms prevent pregnancy and disease as long as they work. Now, see, this is a good example of where the truth is in the middle. Running around telling people you should never have sex until you get married, that's a stupid fucking idea. I'm using fuck a lot today. What the fuck? I know, I've been fucking like a motherfucker today. Telling kids they shouldn't have sex until they get married is a really stupid idea. But you also have to remember that a condom is like any other device and it can't fail. It can fail, just in case I didn't enunciate properly on that. So the truth is in the middle. You need to, you choose your sexual partners wisely. Limit them within reason. I mean, you don't need to, whether you're a man or a woman, you shouldn't be out like fucking 7 people a night. Yeah, keep it down to like 3 or 4 people a night. That's more reasonable. The truth is, as always, in the middle. He continues, he's talking about, he's at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel in Nashville, Tennessee, where there's a meeting. Let's see, what is this? This is the 8th annual convention of the National Abstinence Clearinghouse. So his little report is about this convention. Excuse me again. I read, in the lobby, I eavesdrop as a towering, handsome young man shares his story with 2 girls. While he was sexually active, he says, he managed to avoid catching any STDs. Eventually, he decided to experiment with celibacy. Quote, I tried it for 40 days, then another 40 days, he says. Quote, I noticed my basketball game was getting better. Unquote. One of the girls nods. Secondary virginity, she says. That's the path I'm on. Ah, secondary virginity. An oddly gigantic loophole for a movement that would prefer you not even kiss before your wedding day. This is no exaggeration. One of the first seminars of the day is titled, Why We Saved Our Kiss for Marriage, led by Brian and Amber Davidson. Scandalously, it turns out that only Amber, the daughter of Abstinence Clearinghouse founder Lee Ulrich, was pure. Brian confesses to having kissed a previous girlfriend. Quote, you've never kissed a guy? Unquote. Behind one of the exhibitor tables, the basketball player stretches out on the floor chatting, I'd have to say flirting, with an underage blonde who is clearly a little taken. Well, I've had opportunities, but... You were afraid you might not be able to keep your vow. No, I'm just waiting for a guy who's committed. Committed is a movement buzzword. What do you mean by committed? Well, I can't explain. The girl is flustered, and it suddenly seems plausible that, while she has all the right answers drilled into her, no one has ever posed any questions. When asked what she believes, rather than told what to believe, she's at sea. Finally, she accesses the right part of her education to restore her confidence. I just think it would be so awesome if, when I get married, that's the only guy I've ever been with. And I think this chick is a total fucking loser. This is the movement's central fairy tale. On the table in front of her is a copy of The Princess and the Kiss, a story-coloring book of God's gift of purity. The saddest part of the story comes when the princess worries she will never find a prince worthy of her gift. The queen reminded her daughter that God could be trusted to show her what was best, and even if no husband came, the gift would be hers to treasure forever. Oh. So you see, your virginity, your purity, it's a gift. And God's given it to you. And you can treasure it forever until you find that man, that perfect little prince out there, who's going to be committed to you, who's going to engage in monogamous, permanent pair bonding for the purpose of reproduction and economics. That's what it's all about. Randy's making faces. You know what's so great about being me, other than the fact that I'm better looking and funnier and smarter, and I can fuck better than all the rest of you out there? The great thing about being me is that I don't even have to make any of this material up. These people make this up for me. Yeah, I don't have to write anything. I just look at the world around me. There's, at the very end, He says, but I keep thinking about the pair of school programs the group upstairs is pushing. A presentation for boys called Protector versus Predator, and one for girls called Treasure versus Target. Again, pointing out that the man can either be the economic protector of the woman's virginity and her baby, or men can be the predators, the homosexuals, the polygamists, the studs who have sex with more than one woman, the rapists. See, we can classify all of those as predators. Those people are evil. It's only the Christian goody two-shoes protector boys who are going to be monogamous to you once they've married you and support your children. Oh, those are the wonderfuls. And of course, in the case of women, you can either be the little virgin with your treasure that was given to you by God and will always be your treasure even if you never get married. Wait a minute. Wait, hold it. Okay. Versus target, of course, the target of these evil predator men. So again, we're telling that men, you're either a protector or a predator. So you've got to make your choice there. And we're telling women, you're either a treasure or a target. Again, if you're not abstinent, then you're a target. If you're not going to be abstinent and marry a woman and love her for life, then you're a predator. That's what we're telling these people. That's why our children are fucked up in the head. Because people are trying to tell them this shit and prevent them from having normal, pleasurable sex lives that don't revolve around reproduction. But wait, now what was I about to say? See, this is what's so great about me, is my brain works so fast. The queen reminded her daughter that God could be trusted to show her what was best, and even if no husband came, the gift would be hers to treasure forever. But wait, now how does this jive with the point that the reason we exist on Earth is to procreate? So if you don't get married and you don't procreate, well, the gift may be hers to treasure forever, but it doesn't matter, because in the eyes of Alan Carlston, you're a sinner and you're going to go to hell because you're not procreating. These fucking Christians need to get their shit together and talk to each other and figure this stuff out, because they're saying shit that completely contradicts. So then, I started a sentence with the word so. I've probably done that a couple of times. Where are we at on time, Randy? 47? Alright. I gotta get to the theater soon. We finished that. I'm gonna scan this article in. I'm also gonna see if I can find a link to it on the internet. I'm gonna scan in this picture with the little Aryan girl with the perfect tits, who is trying to use her sexuality to sell abstinence, and who is also the best fuck on the planet Earth. We got that done. Did I have... It seems like I had a note somewhere of something else that I needed to talk about in this edition. Do you have any clue where that is? Yes, that's it. Yes. Not only are you incredibly adorable, but you're also a genius. Randy says she knows. And you're modest, much like my... Oh, we didn't do the TV... I didn't do the TV thing! How'd you let me forget to do the TV thing? The TV thing. Alright. We're going to... Let me do this. Then we're going to play the TV thing, and then I'm going to talk about the TV thing. How could you let me forget the TV thing? That was critical. It still is critical. The TV thing is great. You're going to hear the panic in the voices of these people, the sheer terror when they are confronted with the evil of polygamy. And let me point out, for those of you who are stupid, which, as I point out over and over and over, because I must, because you people are stupid, that you're all stupid. So this is for all of you out there. Polygamy does not mean one man with multiple wives. Polygamy can include it's not only a man with multiple wives, it can be multiple wives with a man. It can be a woman with multiple men. It can be multiple men and multiple women. It's not everybody automatically is polygamy. Well, a man with 17 wives, as if any man could tolerate 17 women. God, I'd kill. Now, I would be much happier sharing a woman with 3 other guys. Because, I mean, think about it. You don't have to think about it. Randy says she's thinking about it. Okay, Randy's busy thinking about 3 men. I'm... You made me lose my train of thought. Yeah, you think about your men over there. Okay? You think... Oh, yeah. No, ew, gross! Don't do that. No, the buzz toy is... I'm just kidding. Men, think about this. Think if you had a woman and you shared her with 2 other guys. Now think about how many times does a woman want to do shit like cuddle? Or like watch Friends and she wants you to hold her hand. Or she wants you to go shopping with her. You get sick of that shit, right? And it cuts into your time playing Halo and drinking with your friends. Now if your wife had 3 husbands including you, you'd only have to do all that bullshit with her 1/3 the amount of time you would if you were her only husband. Think how much time you'd have to be away from shoe shopping and going out to dinner and holding hands and cuddling and all this other shit that we don't like to do anyhow. Men, think this is not a bad thing, guys. And be honest, if she's hot enough, I mean, dude, as long as after she fucks the other guys, as long as she takes a bath, it's like, I'm cool with that. I ain't scared, because I ain't scared of that shit. Yeah, it's great. This would be a great thing for men. We'd have way more time to ourselves and still be able to fuck hot chicks. Yeah, see, I am a genius. This is the wisdom of Skip Doggy Dog. I am the man. All right, here's my notes. This is what I wanted to bring up. All of this, of course, leads to, well, Skippy, what's the solution to this whole problem? Because I've gone on and on about this. This is part 4. We're almost at 52 minutes. I mean, I've talked about this for what? 3.5 hours? 4? Not 4 hours yet, but close. What is the solution? Here is the solution. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it out just plain and water. I'm just going to tell you the fucking solution, and then nobody out there can ever say, well, nobody told us what the solution was, because we're all stupid. I'm going to tell you the solution. What we need to do, and it's not going to make anybody happy, but it's what's going to work, is we need to split, we need to take marriage, we need to separate the religious aspects from the legal aspects. Then the Christians want to claim marriage is blah, 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 all this other shit, okay? We need to take the concept of marriage as presented in the Judeo-Christian ethic by the Bible, blah, blah, blah. We need to say, look, this is a religious ceremony. It is controlled by the church. The church performs religious weddings. The government has no say whatsoever about how a religious wedding goes down, about what happens, about anything about it. It's completely in the realm of the church. Now, the inverse of this is that the religious wedding ceremony can have no legal status. That means that you don't get to deduct on your income tax or any shit like that. The 2 people are not able to legally act for each other, such as, one person signing documents for the other. Power of attorney, thank you. Implied power of attorney, next of kin, things like that do not occur with the religious ceremony. The religious ceremony exists only in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the religious community, in the eyes of the church. It has no, legal standing. Now this will, of course, incredibly, beyond belief, piss off the right wing. But let's be honest, churches should be paying taxes anyhow. Okay, so just fuck the right wing. Fuck the Christian right. This is what needs to be done. Now, on the other hand, we need to have there needs to be another type of marriage. This needs to be a legally binding agreement which is accessible to all people, regardless of gender or number or skin color. I mean, remember, I've brought this up before already. Remember back in the days when interracial marriage was going to destroy civilization? And yet black people and white people get married all the time, Chinese people and Mexican people, and white people and Korean people, and Korean people and black people, and god damn it, civilization is still here. Despite the best efforts of all these interracial marriages to destroy civilization, we're still here. And we're hearing the same thing now with homosexual marriage. civilization is going to end if two men get married to each other. It's all going to crumble. It's all going to collapse. It's all going to fall down, because God knows that civilization only exists because of permanent monogamous pair bonding for the purpose of procreation and economics. We need a... Right, and of course, these very same arguments are being made, as you'll hear when I get to the TV piece, the very same arguments are being made against polygamy. If polygamy is allowed, civilization is going to collapse. Civilization is going to come crumbling down, and this is why I don't support the drive for homosexual marriage, because the homosexual people, the homosexual marriage movement is simply pushing the very same agenda as the Christian right, just in a slightly different form. They're saying that marriage has to be limited to two people. They're saying that marriage has to be determined and controlled by the government. These are the exact same things the Christian right says, that marriage has to be two people and that marriage has to have a legal standing enforced by the government. There's no difference here other than one is saying you've got to be a male and a female. The other one is saying you can be a male and a male, or a female or a male and a female. Until the homosexual marriage movement supports polygamy, they are still my enemies. They are still using the government to force people into morality. They are still legislating morality. They are still imposing their will on others. What we need is a legally binding agreement accessible to everyone, regardless of gender or the number, with no religious overtones, a purely legal document that empowers people to act for others, that empowers people to share responsibilities, finances, blah, 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 blah. A legal form of marriage as opposed to the religious form of marriage. Now, of course, this is going to piss off the right, because they're going to say, well, it will degrade the... What did I write here? I'm attempting to read my notes, and I'm an idiot. What in the hell am I talking about? Okay, yes, this will piss off, because it will degrade... I wrote, piss off the right, as it will degrade the legal status of marriage and elevate homosexuals. Alright, what I meant by that is... this legally binding agreement accessible to everybody with no religious overtones pisses off the right, because they'll see this as degrading. The religious marriage is currently the version which is legally recognized, and if the religious version has the legal recognition taken away from it, they're going to see that as a degradation of their beliefs, and they're going to get pissed off. And they're of course going to see this as an elevation of homosexuals to a status equal to permanently monogamous pair bonders who are spitting out babies and supporting them. So this would totally piss off the right, but fuck the right. And I believe this will also severely piss off the leadership of the left, as I've pointed out before. Many of those who are in the leadership positions of the homosexual marriage movement are not really there because they give a shit about homosexuals getting married. They're just there because they want to piss off Christians, because they hate Christianity. And while I can relate to hating Christianity, it's not that hard to do. You need a better motivation for what you're doing than hating Christians. And if this came true, this would separate these things out, and it would actually make what they want available to them, and then they wouldn't be able to hate Christians anymore, and I think that would seriously piss them off. I think the rank and file, I don't know why I use that phrase, I hate that phrase. I think the average person, especially the average homosexual person who wanted to get married to somebody, would find this to be very beneficial. Because then they would be able to have, and as I also stated before, a lot of this is just about the legal recognition. I mean, if I'm a man, I am a man, if I was a man, if I was a real man, and I had more than a 2-inch penis, I had more than a 2-inch penis and a hairy back. If I were a real man, and I were married to a woman, and I can put the woman on my health insurance from my job. If I'm a man, and I have a homosexual lover, and why shouldn't I be able to put him on my health insurance from work? I mean, a lot of this is just about legal recognition and being able to do things like put your homosexual lover on your health insurance. And, there's nothing wrong with that being part of your purpose, because there's nothing bad about wanting to be able to provide health insurance for the person who lives with you and that you love. Yeah, and of course, many people don't see it that way. Many people, in fact, try to degrade the homosexual marriage movement by pointing out, well, they just want legal benefits, they want legal status, blah, blah. Well, yeah, and why is that necessarily wrong? I don't think it's necessarily wrong. I mean, to some extent, yes, the homosexual, yeah, right. No, yeah, you're right, Randy. To some extent, the homosexual marriage movement pretends that's not what it's about. And in that regards, yeah, they are kind of lying. Right. Yeah, and I think they're lying about it because they feel that if they just come out and admit that, people are going to use it against them. And people would use that against them, but then you have to remember that the people who do that are stupid. So does it really matter what those people do? No. Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to play the TV thing, then we're going to analyze the TV thing. So, you ready? Is the TV thing ready? Okay, let's do it.
This place is hidden enough, but to get even a decent look, you got to trek a long way, and you got to do it in 1.5 feet of snow. The land consists of a barn converted into a house, an SUV, concrete blocks, and solar panels. Other buildings are difficult to see without aerial photos. Polygamy captivates some people, but not the mayor of Memphis, Greg Rath.
I don't know for a fact how many wives they have.
He says in this tolerant town, it is not his business.
It doesn't really affect us unless they cross some line that would involve citizens of our town.
This is far from the modern world. A secret society now in the public eye.
Okay, well, thanks a million. Appreciate it. All right.
And investigators say the same person who bought the first 120 acres might be trying to buy 60 more. Keith Yaskin, Fox News.
Now, Keith contacted a Utah lawyer working on behalf of the group practicing polygamy. The lawyer says he does not have any information on the activities in Memphis, Colorado. He also does not know how to reach David Allred or believe the religious group is interested in speaking to the media.
Okay. Now let's look. Let's take a sneak peek here at everything that is wrong with it. I like that phrase, sneak peek. I use that a lot in life. I don't know why. Now, I missed the beginning of this. I merely serendipitously happened to turn on the television. I think I was going to set up the VCR to record Mad TV. Anyhow, I serendipitously caught this. I can't talk. Serendipitously caught this, and I grabbed my little mini recorder and put it down there to record this for posterity. First of all, why are they worried about what these people are doing? Other than the fact that they are polygamist, if in fact they are polygamist, you'll notice that nobody actually had any evidence that there is any polygamy going on here. And did I mention that polygamy is not only a man with multiple wives, that polygamy can be a woman with multiple men? I did mention this. Okay, I did, because I pointed out how it would be beneficial to women and men for women to have multiple husbands. That would be, yeah, that would be, oh, I would love that. Anyway, I would. I'm serious. Randy doubts that I could. Are you kidding? Look, Randy, a woman would get tired of having sex with me all the time, because when you got 14 inches pounding on you like a jackhammer. Right. Sorry, penis joke. Okay, but Randy's reminding me to focus because we're at an hour and 3 minutes, so I'm supposed to be focusing. Oh, but I'm having so much fun. Alright, why are they trespassing up on these people's property? And you'll notice that if seeing the thing, you would recognize they didn't actually go on this person's property, but they were at his fence line with their cameras and stuff, and they're taking aerial photographs. Why are they taking aerial photographs of people's private property? I mean, what's going on here? Why are these people being singled out and being spied on and having aerial photographs of their property taken and then shown on the news? Because this stuff was all shown on the news. I did find it fascinating that you heard him talking to the local mayor, and the local mayor's like, well, unless they break the law, it's none of our business. Wow, imagine that. somebody who grasped the concept that what other people do is not their business. Did you hear through the whole thing the tone of fear in the voice of the reporter? I found that to be fascinating as well. There's this reference to them as the secret society. What? What in the hell are you talking about? And of course later they were referred to at the end as a religious group. They're a secret society, they're a religious group. Notice how they're lumped in these things to try to make them appear cultish and fanaticish. Because, my God, these people are evil. They believe in polygamy. This could be the end of civilization. Well, this and homosexual marriage. Because I need you all out there to remember the most important thing that we have learned lately is that permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction and child rearing is the one unique human nature, the one trait which is unique to human nature and vital to human success, even to human existence on Earth. So says Alan Carlston. I can't help it. I'm going to pound on that and pound on that. I'm going to pound on this phrase like I pound on a bitch when I'm fucking her at night. I am going to pound on this, and I'm not going to wear a condom while I'm pounding on it. This is just, it's too bizarre. And at the end, there's this fanatical, they might be buying even more land. Oh my God. So what, if you're a polygamist and you buy land, this is terrible. I mean, what? It's incredible. It's amazing. The fear people have of anything that's different. You know, I mean, the fear in this country, and granted it's not in everybody, but the fear in a large portion of the population of homosexual marriage, and the fear in most of the population of polygamy, including these people who are talking about how wonderful homosexual marriage is, which is why I don't align myself with them, as I've pointed out time and time and time again. The fear of these things has got to make you wonder, what are they so terrified of, and why cannot they articulate this fear? I mean, I just went through this whole essay, which I'm going to scan, put on the internet, or anything else on this website. This whole essay about marriage being handed down from God, and marriage being about reproduction and supporting the children economically, and not being about love and all stuff. Yet nowhere in here did I find a single credible reason to explain to me why, if homosexuals get married, or if we allow polygamy, why civilization is going to come crashing down. You know, why can't somebody just explain those things to me? If they're so obvious, if there's so much gonna happen, why can't somebody simply explain these things to me? The answer is because it just ain't like that. I know we should be wrapping this up, but I feel, I'm really tempted. I read the thing about from the Playboy Forum, the Virgin Land, and I feel like I did not do this sufficient justice. I want to come back. I want to look at this a little bit more. The abstinence movement. Is the abstinence movement out of kilter? Absolutely. I already pointed out the truth is between abstinence and being a slut. Have sexual partners. Have multiple sexual partners. Pick and choose. Don't be stupid. Look out for diseases. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. The secondary virginity thing in here. I'm not going to read this again. Let me touch the secondary virginity thing. I found that to be absolutely hilarious. How? So here's a question. You're supposed to be monogamous in the eyes of God, right? Okay. So if you're not monogamous, you go boink a few chicks and you decide you're going to be a secondary virgin. And somehow or another you get your virginity back, and then you're monogamous for the rest of your life. Which of course you can't be, but let's pretend. What I want to get at here is this. If you're a secondary virgin, do you still get to go to heaven? Because you're supposed to be monogamous, right? And what about this? What if you are a homosexual man your lover is another homosexual man, and the two of you are monogamous for your entire life, will the homosexual man, will both of them, let's say they're both monogamous, will both the homosexual men go to hell when they die, while a heterosexual man who had 5 different sex partners before he found his secondary virginity, will he go to heaven? I'm just looking at the possible combinations here. I'm trying to, in religious terms, because all of this is framed in these religious terms. All of this has these religious overtones. I mean, the Carlson article is completely, Carlson essay is completely religious in nature. The abstinence movement is very religious in nature. All of this is coming from a religious function, not a biological function or even a sociological function or anything else. This is all coming from a religious point of view. So I want to know, if you get your secondary virginity, do you still get to go to heaven? That's all I'm asking. The part over here where the girl says, no, I'm just waiting for a guy who's committed. Yeah, I committed. And now see, I think this ties in perfectly with the Carlson essay. What is the point of the man? The point of the man is to commit to supporting the baby. I mean, the abstinence movement thing and this essay about how marriage is about making babies and financially supporting the babies, they tie in perfectly, because that's what the abstinence movement is teaching. They're teaching you that you commit to the woman, you have sex with anybody else, you make the babies, you raise the babies, you pay for the babies. This is all one big happy family. It is in fact a secret society, and some of them might be out there looking around to buy some land. Maybe we should do some aerial photographs over the abstinence movement. Maybe we should spy on them like we spy on people who live up in the mountains minding their own business, doing nothing to bother anybody. Maybe we could do to the abstinence movement what we did to the Branch Davidians down at Waco. Maybe we could run into their building with a tank, set it on fire, and kill them all. and it's funny because then in the Playboy article here, so the girl says, no, I'm just waiting for a guy who's committed. Then the interviewer asks her, well, what do you mean by committed? And she replies, well, I can't explain. I mean, how can you not explain what the fuck committed means? I mean, these people are obviously brainwashed. If you're a woman and you tell somebody, I'm waiting for a man who's committed, and then somebody asks you, well, what does that mean? I mean, if you can't tell them something as simple as what the word committed means to you, then obviously there's not been a lot of thought process involved in getting to where you are intellectually. This is pretty obviously brainwashing. The quote she ends up with here is beautiful, where the girl says, I just think it would be so awesome if, when I get married, that's the only guy I've ever been with. Now, first of all, if when she gets married, this is the only guy she's ever been with, that has nothing to do with him being committed or not. He could have fucked 20 other people. So remember, her original statement was she's looking for a man who is committed. But then she ends up saying she just wants her man to be the only man she's with. Those two things have nothing to do with each other. The man can be a total slut. So I mean, to try to define that she wants a man who... Stop it, Randy. You're making me run over. This is all your fault. Randy's making faces in the control room. So she says, I'm waiting for a guy who's committed, and then when she finally gets around to figure out what the word committed means, she says, I just think it would be so awesome if when I get married, that's the only guy I've ever been with. That doesn't mean the guy's committed. That means you're committed to being stupid. And again, I wish I could find one of these people and explain to me, alright, so if this is the only man you've ever had sex with, what's so awesome about that? And I love the teeny bopper lingo here. I just think it would be so awesome if, when I get married, that's the only guy I've ever been with. Oh my god, totally. The little book here, The Princess and the Kiss, a story coloring book of God's gift of purity. That's hilarious, where the queen reminds her daughter that God could be trusted to show her what was best, even if no husband came, the gift would be hers to treasure for. So you see, your virginity, it's a gift. So Now we'll scan we'll scan that picture of the Jesus freaks selling virginity by using sex. That's going to be on the website. I think I'm done. I think I'm finally done with this, Randy. I can't believe this turned into 4 parts. So, so let's sum all of this up. Marriage is slavery as we currently practice it. It is physical, it is emotional, it is sexual slavery. It is a way to keep the population under control. It is a way to drive the economy by creating sexual frustration and sexual tension, which has to have outlets via pornography websites and via pornography magazines. And then, not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with pornography. I love pornography. Porn is great. I have porn movies. I got porn magazines. I got some barely legals in the closet. But I don't spend huge amounts of money on this stuff. Marriage is about driving the economy by creating a need for more manufactured goods, more consumer goods. What we need to do here, in order to solve all of these problems, first thing we need to do is we need to separate religious marriage, the ceremony, the religious tradition, from legal marriage, make them two completely different things. Then we need to open legal marriage up to any number and any gender of people who want to engage in the legal contract of marriage. We need to let religious people have their marriage as their little monogamous pair bonding, make babies and pay for them if that's what they want, but it needs to be stripped of all legal status, so that there's a very clear distinction between a religious marriage ceremony and what that entails, and a legal marriage agreement and what that entails. And with those incredible words of wisdom, I will now leave you. And the next, we're going to do some more STOs here soon. Next one, I got a lot of political stuff to cover, and then maybe we'll get back to philosophy, because we got to talk about egoism, and we already have to an extent blown over utilitarianism and Kant and all kinds of Kant, whatever, all kinds of other stuff. So we'll have some more fun with philosophy, but first some more fun with politics. So join us there. And God, this was long. Somebody put me out of my misery. Somebody put you out of your misery if you managed to live through all of this. All right, have fun. Bye bye.